There's a delay. We're definitely still was a delay when we did the other round.
That's the only one I'm familiar with.
You're the next best secret.
And the door was unlocked. Who was actually locked?
Oh, you got this right.
Well, you're acclimated. Yeah, you're acclimated. It's all perfect. And you're in the right seat. You're the VIP seat. Thank you.
So I just heard that your family said they see the link.
Okay.
So,
Yes.
positive talk.
Thank you, sir. Gotta get it ready next time. Oh, that's gonna cost them.
instruct the kids to look at this one. As you say. Yeah, I think it automatically records it. Next map.
The video will be available after too, right?
It's going to be under camera and it should be under YouTube.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the CVA YouTube right now.
Okay. Yeah, it'll be available. You might even like send it out. There's a room back there. Back there, they're lining up. It's getting real. I slept a little last night, you know. I did not even see it. You know. See how it goes. Yeah, I'll probably lose it this year. Oh, yeah, you learned from last night. You guys want to pull like cultural activity? I just know that they're going to send the scene. Totally on purpose. You guys think? Oh, nice. Great. Yeah. Have you guys been to
I have them.
I'm going.
Good morning. On behalf of the faculty, staff, and trustees of Carabasset Valley Academy, welcome friends and family to the celebration of the remarkable class of 2023. To begin, the Reverend Dr. Pamela Morse will lead the invocation. Pam?
I, along with my husband Earl, welcome you to the Richard Bell Interfaith Chapel, which over the years has been the place where countless CVA students, faculty, and families have gathered to celebrate those who have worked hard, played hard, studied hard, and discovered that after all that work, it's time to graduate from this valley into the wider world. Or as one CVA student, soon to be an alumna, today writes and sings this: "The mountains are calling, but the people made me go. It's marvelous how everyone can be like flakes of snow. The memories are worth more than my skis. Oh, it's not just the race, it's time to go. But I hope you know, we're gonna miss this place." You'll get to hear that in its fullness later. So with gratitude and open hearts, I invite you to join me in a moment of quiet reflection and prayer. So breathe deeply, folks. Relax. Be present. This moment's going to come only once, and I hope you all enjoy it so very much. Let's pray. God of this mountain that we have come to love, we invite your presence into this place today. Family, faculty, staff, coaches, community, fellow students and friends, we've all come together to celebrate the accomplishments of this graduating class. God, it's an honor to join you in affirming and celebrating the creative, athletic, and academic accomplishments of those who are graduating and moving on to the next chapter of their lives. Thank you for the season you have entrusted them into our care. And now as they move out into the world, now more than ever, we entrust them into your care. God, we pray that our graduates' future campuses and dormitories, as well as their future homes and neighborhoods and places of work and play and worship, would be better places, more life-giving places, because they are in those places. Where they say hurt, give them healing hands and healing words. Where they sense confusion, give them wisdom. Where they perceive beauty, give them a sense of thankfulness and wonder. And where they encounter scarcity, give them a heart and a passion to contribute and serve and make a difference. God, for those pursuing higher education, grant them the knowledge that they will need in their chosen fields and the wisdom to apply that knowledge to every facet of their life. For those going directly into the workforce, grant them a sense of what is right and good, and honoring and beautiful, especially in the confusing and complex issues they will face. And for those continuing in their athletic pursuits and competition, God, may they draw courage, discipline, and strength from you. For all of today's graduates and their families, wherever the next chapter takes them, give them character that exceeds their gifts and humility that exceeds their influence. And may this world be a little brighter. May people treat each other a little bit kinder, because these, your CVA graduates, have walked a while upon your good earth and climbed up this, your good mountain. Amen.
Thank you, Pam. Class of 2023, you have a lot to be proud of and celebrate today, and we are excited to recognize your many accomplishments. Together, you have traveled the world, endured a global pandemic, survived van rides in questionable weather, taken on physical testing, studied for exams, supported one another through disappointments, celebrated each other's successes, and begun your plans for the next step in your journey. You have shown courage, tenacity, fortitude, kindness, and gratitude. You have each reached this milestone today because of your commitment and resilience, and because of all the people who have supported you and believed in you, your family, your friends, your teachers, your coaches. Graduates, I hope you find your own way to express your gratitude to the people who have guided you through all the steps that have led to this day. I want to thank each member of the class of 2023 for your contributions to the CVA community. Individually, you have each accomplished a great deal. Collectively, you have shaped CVA in ways that will forever impact this community. You all will forever belong to this family, and you will always be welcome home. The success of Carabasset Valley Academy comes from the success of our students and alumni. I am incredibly proud of all the achievements of our alumni that they've already made and will continue to make. I am confident you too will soon make your marks. It is now my great honor to introduce today's commencement speaker, World Cup and Olympic athlete, Hall of Fame inductee, global ski racing commentator, and owner and head coach of elite team athlete development camps, Doug Lewis. Doug grew up on the slopes of Vermont with early dreams of becoming the fastest skier in the world. At age 16, he won the Junior Olympics, and at age 17, he raced his first World Cup. In that race, he fell halfway through his run, hit a chairlift tower at over 60 miles per hour, breaking his back. Unfazed and even more committed to his dreams, he fought his way back. 3 years after the injury, he represented the U.S. at the 1984 Olympics. A year later, Doug became the first ever U.S. ski racer to win a medal at the World Championships in downhill. Since retiring from his ski racing career, Doug has been an NBC ski racing commentator, sharing his passion and knowledge with the world. Doug thrives on big air and big challenges. Some of his most memorable and exciting highlights include skiing over 95 miles an hour and jumping over 210 feet, crushing 4 100-mile trail running ultras, and running 155,000 vertical feet in just a month. Please welcome athlete, coach, and winter sport ambassador, Doug Lewis.
Thank you, Kate. And I also want to do a shout out to Shelly and my old coach, as in former coach, not old, Kurt Breyer, and especially Jenny Conover for getting me here. It has been wonderful 24 hours. revisiting this special, special place, and I now know and re-know how wonderful and special this mountain is. I'd like to share with you some experiences, some struggles, some stories that I've had and that really have defined my life. And I hope that I can inspire you especially, to continue to push your limits as you get into the real world. 42 years ago, I had to do the math. I was 17. I stood in the starting gate at narrow gauge, trying to focus on my breathing, but freaking out because I knew the head wall and the fall away were just 40 seconds below me. My coach, Kurt Dwyer, radioed up, stay online, be on that downhill ski. I couldn't focus at all. I was about to throw myself down a vertical ice rink, and that kind of ice that Maine has, where if you focus at one point, you can see yourself. And then if you refocus, you can see the frozen grass underneath. I was about to throw myself down this mountain, this unbelievable mountain, in a glorified leotard. I took a deep breath, I smiled, and I pushed out of the gate. Just 3 years after that experience, I stood in the starting gate of Kitzbühel, the Hahnenkamm. Before I run, as we all do, I closed my eyes, did some visualization, and in that 40 seconds of visualization, I opened my eyes and the fog had rolled in, and I couldn't see the second gate. But I knew at the third gate, there was a 90-meter Nordic jump called the Mouse Volley right there. And I said, oh, I hope I inspected well. I took a deep breath, I smiled, and I punched out of the gate. Now fast forward to just 15 years ago, I was 3 hours into the first ever race called the Death Race. And the reason I signed up for it is because the tagline said, the death race, you may die. I'm way into that. So after 3 hours, I thought it was a running race with some obstacles. After 3 hours of not running, lifting and cutting and doing whatever, we had to go through a culvert, a 30-inch culvert that went 100 feet from here to the door, underneath Route 100 in Vermont. And there was about 6 inches of running water going through it. And we had to go through that with 50 pounds of equipment. You couldn't crawl through, it wasn't big enough, so I was on my back, 50 pounds of equipment on my belly, and I stooched backwards through it. Again, I smiled, I took a deep breath, and I went for it. And lastly, about a year ago, a little over a year ago, I was in Switzerland in a 100-mile race, and I had been going for 24 hours. The sun was just coming at 6 a.m. The sun was coming up at 6 a.m. I was 24 hours in, and I was at an aid station, and the emotions got to me. I was eating spaghetti as fast as I could because I needed the carbs, and I started to cry. And my nose started running, and it was all in my spaghetti, and I was eating it. I needed the carbs. And it wasn't because I was scared or upset, it was just the emotion. 24 hours of pushing my limits. And again, luckily, my wife was there. She gave me a big kiss. I took a deep breath. I smiled, and I started to run. Every time that I find myself, actually that's a lie, every time I put myself in these situations purposely, I feel alive. And that's jumping out of my comfort zone, pushing my limits. And I love that feeling. That is where I thrive. That is where I survive, and that's where I feel most alive. And that has made all the difference. So most times I speak to groups, the people who are listening to me have completely no idea what I'm talking about. They've never experienced it, and that's what makes today so special. Because these people, these young adults, all of you know what I'm talking about. Pushing your limits, jumping outside of your comfort zone is in CVA's DNA. It's in your curriculum. You know this. And that's pretty special to me because I'm just talking to myself. I'm preaching to the choir. And I know that all of these seniors have pushed themselves in the last 4 years, 5 years for some of you at CVA and learned about this special skill of pushing yourself out of the comfort zone. And I reached out to the seniors, and I can't read from all of them, but I just want to have a couple quotes that the seniors, when they talked about jumping out of their comfort zone while at CVA. Africa shared that on her first orientation camping trip, she felt completely out of her element, hardly able to communicate, but realized that this experience would help her face challenges in the future. Summer's 3-week trip to Chile was filled with craziness, including being snowed in, trapped in a hotel, unable to communicate, wearing dirty laundry every day, and she made memories by singing karaoke with strangers. Talk about being out of your comfort zone. Kai learned that by facing his fears in Le Grave, he was able to push outside his comfort zone, and it was so worth it. This made him realize that his ability and potential to be able to do something was much higher than he thought. Francois arrived at CVA and did not speak any English, and also didn't know anyone. But he learned that hard work will pay off. Dahlia was terrified of speaking in front of people, but now knows that jumping off that cliff helped her become more confident and will try to put herself in those uncomfortable situations in the future. And finally, Ellie wrote, "A time I pushed out of my comfort zone was when I did my first downhill race. Standing in the start, I was physically shaking. Looking forward, I will use that when I'm faced with difficult times. I can just imagine myself ripping down the slope with this huge smile on my face." So the reason these seniors and CVA people survive and thrive outside of their comfort zone is because it's part of this community, which is really special. So I'm going to quickly give you 3 skills, 3 techniques, 3 things that I've learned to get me through when we push ourselves out of our comfort zone. And they're all mental skills. And we know how important the mental skill and the mental side is. Number 1, I'm going to talk about risk management. Yes, you're going to take advice from a downhill skier who went 97 miles an hour down the hill. Number 2, it's about embracing failure. Super important, super hard to learn, but super important. And third, talking about passion and loving what you do. So first off, the technique I use to manage risk. I race kids fuel. I race narrow gauge. I speak in front of people. There's many risks, both physical and mental risks. But I do 2 things to manage my risks. Number 1, I accept it and I respect it. The people that end up in the hospital at Kids Fuel are the racers that do not respect the danger and the risk. But if you respect it and you accept it, all of a sudden your 5 senses become tighter. They become more clear, more focused. All of a sudden you get that tingling feeling because all of a sudden you realize that what you're going to do is pretty incredibly stupid and awesome. I would visit each of the finishes of the downhill at World Cup before I would race and just stare and spend some time with that finish line and accept it and respect it. The second thing to do to minimize risk, and this is not rocket science, it's hard work. Another thing built into the DNA of CVA. So every time I was in the weight room, I lowered the risk. Every time I inspected, inch by inch, I lowered the risk. Every time I spent visualizing that course, I lowered the risk. So the risk management part, accept it, accept that it's crazy, and work hard, and you've lowered that risk, giving yourself a better chance. Number 2, learning from failure, embracing failure. Skiing is brutal, snowboarding is brutal. What you guys do is brutal, right? Think about skiing. There's 100 people in the race, there's one winner, 99 losers. Every time you go to a race. So if you don't learn to accept failure and learn from it, it can be a brutal, brutal sport. And I can tell you about a ton of failures. I've failed, I've missed the first gate, I've missed the last gate, I've missed my start. Like, I've failed so many times. But I just do want to share with you one that happened over 40 years ago that's still with me, that still teaches me something. So I'm at my first US ski team camp. It's in Squaw Valley, California. It's in June. And in June in Squaw Valley, there's snow on the trails, but not under the lift. It's all rocks and roots. It's my first camp. I'm first in line. I want to show off to the coaches. I want to show off to my teammates. I'm committed. I got my 223 downhills on. Everybody's watching. I'm super psyched. This is a dream come true. This is my first US ski team camp. I get on the lift. It swings forward. It swings back. And as it swings back, my 223 got caught under a log. And it catapulted me out of the lift and onto the ground and dirt. And what do you do when you get nervous? I stood up really quick. I brushed myself off and I said, I'm okay. And then the next chairlift hit me. Completely crying, right? I'm like, they're going to send me home. This is an idiot from Vermont who fell off the lift. So I pick up my skis and I do that walk of shame right by all the people. No one's talking to me. I'm fighting back tears. And it would have been so easy for me. It's like, I'm small, I'm from Vermont, no one cares, I'm packing up, I'm going home. This is it. That was my shot. But there's no way that was gonna happen. I had worked too hard for this. So I wiped my nose, I got back in line. A couple of my friends actually talked to me, said it'll be all right. And I said, this is what I'm trained for. I can get through this. I worked too hard. And so I got through that next run, didn't fall off the lift. I got through the day, I got through the week, and by the end of that camp, I was named to the US ski team. Not only got to a camp, but I was named to the ski team. And so I learned a lot that day. Number one, you gotta just punch through it. Bad things happen, and you just gotta go through it. But number two, you gotta believe in yourself. And things are gonna get tough. You're gonna go to your ski team camps, snowboard camps. You're gonna go to college. You're gonna do these things, and things will get tough. And you'll have bad days, but if you believe in yourself, it makes all the difference. And lastly, the third trick. So we've got to respect the risk. We've got to learn from our mistakes and our failures. And we got to love what I do, the passion. All right, I love three things in addition to my wife. I love inspiring athletes. I love skiing. And I love pushing my limits. And as soon as I graduated, as soon as I retired and went to college, they're like, you gotta go into Wall Street and make lots of money, and this is what we're doing. But it just wasn't for me. It wasn't my passion. It's fine, but it just wasn't for me. And the first year at UVM, I got invited to coach U12s at Sugarbush. U12s, they're tiny. And I fell in love with inspiring and educating young athletes. That's what's here. And that's what I've been doing for 40 years. And so I say to you, people are going to tell you what to do, where you should go, but look inside your heart. What makes you happy? What are you passionate about? And that's the best advice I ever got. Just follow that. So in conclusion, to all the seniors, to everyone, try to live outside your comfort zone. Whether that's just walking up to that lodge or whether it's running to the top of that mountain. Say yes whenever you can. Avoid saying no. When you say yes to the challenge, you've already won. Whether you make that challenge or not, say yes. That has made the entire difference in my life, because when someone comes up to me, let's do something, first word out of my mouth is yes, let's do it. You will learn so much about yourself and live so fully. So thank you to the seniors, thank you to Kate who got me here, and I can't wait to see what you say yes to in the future. Thank you guys so much.
Deb. Okay, before we begin the presentation of awards, please welcome Kieran and Nan to present the dedication of the yearbook.
The senior class dedicates this yearbook to Beth Hamlet. Beth has become a big part of many of our lives at CVA. From having dinner in her apartment, to hanging out with her in her classroom, Beth is always here to talk and laugh with. She has worked so hard, planning fun dances, teaching us French, and making sure every student is welcome. Thank you, Beth.
Congratulations, Beth. First award will be presented by Travis Class, is the CVA Alumni Association Award. Travis?
The CVA Alumni Association Award, established in 1993 by the CVA Alumni Association, is a scholarship funded each year by members of the CVA Alumni Association. The award is designated to a rising senior who exhibits strong and steady character, reliability, a consistently positive attitude, and respect for others. The recipient must have consistently demonstrated a proven commitment to doing his or her best academically, athletically, and in the school community. As a first-year FIS athlete, this year's recipient had a very successful season, acting as both a role model for younger athletes while also trying to find her place amongst a competitive field of older FIS athletes. With 80 days of athletic travel this season, she worked tirelessly to maintain high honor roll grades while also being an active member of campus groups back at CVA. She serves as a student coordinator of CVA's peer tutoring program that oversees 24 peer tutors providing academic support to students in our community. A valuable member of CVA's National Honor Society, this year's recipient invests herself 100% in everything she does and truly embodies what it is to be a CVA citizen. On behalf of the CVA Alumni Association, I proudly present this year's award to Charlie Koenig.
Thank you, Travis. The J. Keith Penninger Memorial Fund Award will be presented by Brighton Bradford. Right?
The Keith J. Penninger Award Memorial Fund Award is a tuition award that was established in 1998 in memory of Keith J. Penninger, class of '96. And is presented to the junior who best represents CVA in terms of leadership, commitment to the CVA mission and community. This year's recipient has shown resilience and determination. She suffered a significant injury in her career but continued to work hard. This season during nationals, she crashed in her qualification, but that did not slow her down. She really had to step it up and dig deep in her final heats. She ended up winning the race and became the new national champion at her first ever nationals event. She is also a bold leader of our environmental club, and her enthusiasm and energy to protect our climate is infectious. She has made a positive impact on our community. Her passion and creativity also comes across in her works of writing and are appreciated by her classmates and teachers. This year, I am proud to present the Keith J. Penninger Memorial Fund Award to Amy Latondres.
I now have the honor of presenting the John Rizzo Headmaster Award. This award is presented to the senior who has best exhibited leadership qualities and has made the most contribution to the betterment of the school and the community. This big dog had big plans when she walked through the doors of CVA for the first time. But when her dreams were dashed time and time again, she redirected her energy and her focus. At one point this year, she told me one of the things she has learned most these past 4 years is that just because one thing goes wrong, it doesn't mean everything else will fall apart. It is this positive, resilient, and hopeful attitude and approach that has motivated countless students and staff when they have hit their own speed bumps. Channeling her challenges into fuel, this senior has been first academically in her competitive class since freshman year. She's a passionate co-president of the National Honor Society, and her commitment to the club goes far beyond required service. I am proud of her accomplishments, but I am most proud of what she has done to help others. She believes that every single person can do their best. As a peer mentor and tutor, she helps students that were struggling socially or academically to support the mission of creating a safe, supportive, and productive environment. On school breaks, as a coaching assistant, she helped people learn to navigate the slopes, even when she couldn't do it herself. And when she's in the athletic training room, she helps others realize that being injured is just a chapter, not the end of their story. I am proud to present this year's John Rizzo Headmaster Award to Dahlia Saban. The next award, the Benjamin Weissbein Award, will be presented by David Coleman.
Morning. The Benjamin Weissbein Award is in memory of former CVA student Ben Weissbein. It's presented to a senior who best exemplifies the qualities that Ben possessed: superb athleticism, tireless work ethic, high academic standings, and an admiration of his peers. This year's award recipient, like Ben, truly represents the CVA way. Through her outstanding athletics, serious scholarship, continued personal development, and strength of character. In her time at CVA, she's become a role model for all of her peers within her sport. She worked tirelessly on and off the snow to perfect her craft and encourage others to strive to be better versions of themselves. She's well respected within the snowboard community and is a good friend and fierce competitor. Throughout her competitive career, this year's recipient competed in over 30 North American and European Cup races, 4 World Cups, 4 World Juniors, and has over 15 podium finishes. She's earned a spot on the U.S. snowboard team and is one of the highest achieving snowboard alumni thus far, all while maintaining top marks in the classroom. She's a peer mentor at CVA, a member of the NHS, and valued community member and friend. Like Ben, she lifts others up and leads by example. And for this reason, I'm proud to present the Benjamin Weissbein Award to Sasha Jensen.
The next award is the David Holmes Most Improved Student Award, being presented by faculty member Kristen Davis.
The David Holmes Most Improved Student Award was established by former math and science teacher David Holmes to honor the student who has shown the most growth over the course of his or her time at CVA. This year's award recipient has grown both academically and socially over the past 3 years at CVA. He arrived during COVID as a young sophomore whose first language wasn't English. While he was bright and motivated, he initially felt a little lonely as the new Belgian kid. However, he soon realized that his passions for skiing, art, and working out were great ways to stay optimistic and to connect with his peers at CVA. World Cup soccer champion Ali Krieger said, "Surround yourself with positivity and people who are going to challenge you to make you better. If you just let yourself stay alone and be by yourself, it's not going to help you. You can control 2 things. Your work ethic, and your attitude about anything." This young man has truly been an inspiration and can now probably write a better English paper than most of us. I am proud to present this year's David Holmes Most Improved Student Award to Francois Milan.
Okay, ready? It is now time for actually before I get getting anxious. Lindy, our King Coming Service Award is going to be presented today by the CVA Board of Trustees Chair, Lindy McKinnon-Gruen, CVA Class of 1992. Lindy.
The King Coming Service Award was established in 1989 and is given annually to an individual or individuals within the CVA community who have performed valuable service beyond normal expectations and have made an outstanding contribution to the growth and development of Carabasset Valley Academy. Those fortunate enough to have known King Cummings and to have witnessed his generosity, caring, and commitment to young people can truly appreciate the full meaning of this award. King helped found, fund, and direct CVA through its earliest years. His vision lives on today, and his spirit is alive in the actions and commitment of people in the community. The recipients of the King Coming Service Award all have one thing in common: a strong commitment to the advancement of the CVA mission. This year, I am pleased to announce that the King Coming Service Award is being presented to the town of Carabasset Valley. The town has certainly made and continues to make outstanding contributions to growth and development of Carabasset Valley Academy. The town is a significant part of every CVA student's experience. We heard that last night and also quite a bit today. The character and support of CVA and Carabasset Valley play a critical role in making sure that CVA delivers on its mission for the students of today and tomorrow. It's a perfect partnership in a perfect setting. The town of Carabasset Valley was formed in 1971 from the township of Jerusalem, and 4 years later, with its merger with Crockertown, the township of Sugarloaf. Carabasset Valley Academy was incorporated in 1982. Head of school, Kate Weber Punderson, recently remarked that CVA and the town basically grew up together. I like that observation. The town fully embraced its younger sibling right from the beginning. Perhaps it was because the Academy's founders, such as King Cummings, had already made numerous positive impacts in the community. Maybe it was because the town and the Academy possessed similar values, ones that are still true today. Likely it was both. It's evident that people who live and work in this community value kids and families, have a love of outdoor adventure, and deeply recognize the importance of a strong community and high standards for education. Everyone appreciates and indulges in the sense of place in the Valley. Community spirit and pride runs deep here. Carrabassett Valley Academy is the town's school. CVA couldn't have become a reality without the support of the town of Carrabassett Valley, which has been there for the school from day one. An early commitment of state and town resources to assist local students with CVA tuition was a defining decision by the school committee and the town. Hundreds of residents have benefited from government funding toward their CVA tuitions, 20 students just this year. The town values kids in education and sustains this funding as a priority. The town decision reinforces how aligned Carrabassett Valley is with the ethos of CVA and with the ethos of its founders, such as King Cummings, continuing to make CVA accessible to local kids who meet the mission. The town is proud of its school, and the school is proud to be the town's school. In addition to helping deserving local students with CVA tuition, the town has been incredibly generous to CVA over the years in myriad ways. Annually, it supports a multitude of fundraising initiatives, from the Scholarship Bash to the Parent Support Organization's Holiday Wreath Sale. The people of the town have also voted to direct significant funding to capital projects, such as the Bill and Joan Alfond Competition Center and the recent podium project that made the new T-Bar possible. Sharing resources and addressing challenges together demonstrates the strength and power of community. Here are just a few examples. The Carrabassett Valley Public Library serves as CVA's library. In the summer, CVA sublets a few of its vans to the town to run the outdoor adventure camp. Recognizing the emergent need for workforce housing, the community assembled a regional housing committee to address this. The joint partnership of the anti-gravity complex serves CVA and the community in promoting a lifelong health and wellness all around. And so it is that CVA is not just a school in a community, it is a school that is part of a community. There's a subtle and important difference. The partnership has been built on shared values. Both benefit from this foundation and the mutual resources and joint ventures activated by this collaboration. The town's CVA connection has deepened over time, siblings reliant on each other. The school and town celebrate each other's successes and triumphs, big and small, encouraging each other and cheering one another on. When one wins, both do. The community joins together and perseveres in difficult times as well. The town of Carrabassett Valley is a vital aspect of the CVA experience, together making an indelible impression on students, whether you've come to CVA for 1 year or 6, or if you're from Kingfield or Turkey. It's truly a special place, and you understand that when you're here. I have so many unforgettable memories from living, studying, and pursuing my skiing dreams in this town. I'm sure today's graduates do as well, and we keep hearing awesome stories about that. I remember running along the river on the narrow gauge to the town soccer field and thinking, at least it's a slight decrease in grade, slightly downhill, or our frequent trips down in the van, down 27 to IOTS to blitz the store and buy snacks. Encountering my first bear on the outdoor center trails in the off season, and all those Arctic cold but amazing days at Sugarloaf, a mountain like no other in the East. A sign when you enter Carrabassett Valley reads, "From here on, your life will never be the same." This is quite true for students and community members alike. This place makes an impression. It changes people's lives for the better, just like it did mine more than 30 years ago. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, it is my honor to present the Town of Carrabassett Valley with the 2023 H. King Cummings Service Award. Here to accept the award is Bob Luce, Chair of the Carrabassett Valley Select Board. Please join me in congratulating him and the town.
Congratulations, Bob, and thank you so much to the town. Now, we're ready. Now, please welcome class salutatorian, Summer Savings.
Hello, everyone. First, I would like to congratulate the amazing class of 2023. We've all worked extremely hard to get here today, and I'm so excited to see what the future holds. My time at CVA has been truly unforgettable. The path we've chosen is not for the faint of heart. It was riddled with a comedy of errors, including much hilarity, many calamities, and some disappointments. And through all of this, we have learned the importance of fortitude and resilience. Today, I'm going to take you along my 4 years at CVA through a series of memories, starting when I arrived on campus in November of 2019. 4 years ago, my sister and I arrived at CVA for our first winter term. Some kids had already been here through middle school, and some were new, but it didn't matter. I can honestly say I did not expect to fit into this community as well as I did. But I made friends instantly, and I attribute that to the wonderful people here. We went to class together, skied together, and did everything in between together. And as you can imagine, we made hundreds of memories together. A few months after my arrival, probably in January of freshman year, I found myself in a cold hotel room a few minutes away from some New England mountain. It was the night before a race, and I was trying to get some sleep, despite my rumbling stomach. The motel we stayed at had no heating, and it took the restaurant upwards of 3 hours to serve us. I was stuck in a crappy hotel bed with Naya, who insisted on playing her white noise to help her sleep. I got about 2.5 hours of sleep before waking up for the race the next morning. Oddly enough, I podiumed that day for the first time all season. I think this story tells you a lot about what it means to be at CVA. There are a lot of unknowns. You may go to a bad restaurant. You may get a bad hotel. Your roommate might have weird sleeping habits. But one thing will always be true. We will never go through any of this alone. 1 month later, I am sitting in the atrium with all of the dorm students. We are unexpectedly saying our goodbyes for the spring. The school was closing because of the new COVID-19 virus. Just like everyone else in the US, we were confused and had no idea when we would be back with our friends. Now, I'm not much of a crier, but I vividly remember bawling my eyes out that night. At the time, I couldn't understand why, but looking back made me realize it was because I didn't want to let go of something that had become so special to me. My teachers, coaches, and friends had become my second family in the few months I had been at CVA, and I was not prepared to leave them so suddenly. 3 years later, I still have that same feeling, but it is accompanied with excitement for what's ahead. Then, it's the middle of sophomore year, and we've all been back together for a few months. Sugarloaf had gotten a ton of snow, and I went powder skiing with a group of friends. We skied for hours, and then afterward, we had no way to get back to campus. Instead of doing the sensible thing, like taking the shuttle or calling someone, we put our skis back on and skied all the way down the access road. After watching numerous vans pass us on their way back to school, we made it down to the rack before getting picked up by a coach making his final trip back to school. I learned something that day. CVA students are notorious for coming up with the weirdest things to do when we are bored. I may not be the best artist, but when it comes to finding something to do, CVA has taught me to get creative. A few weeks later, the wind and rain kept us from going out for training. Instead of doing nothing all afternoon, Matt and Travis decided to take the U19 women moose hunting. Now, I am from Washington, D.C., and I can confidently say I have never been moose hunting in my life. Nonetheless, we 6 girls piled into Matt's car and drove to the middle of the woods somewhere near Stratton. After Matt parked us in a ditch, we walked around the woods for a while when all of a sudden we heard Travis's voice from behind us screaming, Moose, run. So we all booked it back to the car. Unfortunately for me, my boot got stuck in the mud, and my entire team left me behind. While desperately trying to yank my foot from the mud, I looked back to see Travis cackling. There was no moose, and Travis helped me free myself before catching up with the rest of the girls. We got back to the car, which was completely sideways by now. After waiting another hour in the wet snow to get pulled out, we drove down to a general store to get pizza because we were about 2 hours late to lunch, and then continued back to school. What seems like a series of unfortunate events to an outsider was actually one of the most fun excursions I've ever had. This is just another example of CVA students doing weird things to entertain themselves. And then it's the fall of junior year, and my friend Drew Hooker and I are out on an evening walk. We made it down to Route 27, and we're just standing around and talking, when I stepped on a yellow jacket hive. Within a matter of seconds, I was attacked by 100 angry yellow jackets. As I started sprinting back to the dorms, they were sticking to my clothes. So by the time I made it back, I looked like a human yellow jacket hive. Tristy, who hates bugs, came out with a t-shirt and started whacking them off of me. After she had successfully slayed all of the insects, she moved me to the atrium bathroom, where I sat shirtless on the floor as my classmates peeked in to see what was going on. My sister Dahlia was nice enough to monitor me that night to make sure I was still breathing. Although this was by no means an enjoyable evening, the abundance of help I got from the staff and my fellow classmates was unparalleled. And I owe Tristy a huge thank you. Looking ahead a couple months later, midway through the winter, I convinced the entire school that I had swallowed an apple ear tag. This was completely false. But I had a few friends and teachers in on the prank, so everyone believed. Dave pulled me into his classroom to make sure that battery acid wasn't slowly leaking into my stomach. And Alien convinced Charlie that it was not a medical emergency, which it definitely would have been. That night, after a long day of confusing people, I called all the girls into my room and pulled the ear tag from my waistband. I'm glad no teachers walked by at that moment because they would have thought something was seriously wrong. There was screaming and yelling and slamming of doors. Personally, I thought it was pretty fun. But not everyone appreciated my prank as much as I did. However, it was nice to know that my friends didn't want battery acid leaking into my stomach. Suddenly, it's the beginning of senior year. We are on the last day of our final Colorado trip together. We are all exhausted and ready to come home, but the coaches aren't. We had a few hours to ski in the morning before driving to the airport that afternoon. We were all dreading going skiing, but when we got out there, it was amazing. The weather was beautiful, the snow was perfect, and we all had a great time. We were blasting music and just having fun. For me, it was a good break from the everyday stress that inherently comes with being a CVA student athlete. And I was able to take some time to just enjoy the people around me, which is not something we get to do very often. The last memory I will share with you was in early March of this year. A few of us went to a race at Gore Mountain in New York. On the last day of the series, the race got delayed because of high winds and freezing rain. This rain soon turned into heavy snow. We didn't end up leaving the mountain until late afternoon, and what was supposed to be a 6-hour drive ended up taking upwards of 9 hours. We got stopped at the Canadian border because we had to explain to the patrol what a ski race was. We drove through Quebec in the snow, got stopped at the border on the way back into the US, then drove the rest of the way home before getting stuck in the school parking lot and finally getting towed out by a snowplow at 1 o'clock in the morning. Now, this was nothing short of a disaster. But despite the sketchy drive, we all stayed up with our coach, blaring music and talking the entire time. That is another thing CVA has taught me. Whether it's 3 in the afternoon or 3 in the morning, you're always there for your people when they need you. Looking back, I wish I had cherished these memories more, because it would only be a few short months before I would have to say goodbye. That is something that took me a little longer to realize. It's easy to get caught up with the tests and competitions, and then by the time you stop to take a breath, 4 years have blown by. It's important to take the time to just be with the people you care about, because before you know it, it will be time to move on. The memories I have from my 4 years here go far beyond what I mentioned today, and I will cherish them forever. Now, while a lot of these memories just sound like a combination of bad luck and poor decisions, I can assure you they are much more than that. There have been many ups and downs, unexpected turns, and plenty of bumps along the way, but I would not change them for the world. The unwavering support from our teachers, coaches, and most importantly, our families has made us who we are today and has given us the skills to take on anything that lies ahead. To the wonderful group of men and women sitting beside me, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. We have laughed with each other, cried with each other, and pushed each other in ways we never could have imagined. This class is truly something special, and I cannot wait to see what the future holds. So thank you everyone for all that you do, and congratulations to the outstanding class of 2023.
Up next is the senior chosen to speak by the faculty and staff, Althea Noyes.
Morning. First and foremost, I would like to say that I'm very honored to have been given the opportunity to speak to all of you today. When I first found out that I was chosen to speak at graduation, my best friend Charlie had texted me saying, "Go see Shelly right now, she needs to talk to you." So my initial thought was, what did I do now? But then I finally found Shelly, and well, long story short, here I am speaking to you guys today, and I am not in trouble. We've all wanted something, right? Like a new pair of skis or a new pair of shoes for all of you guys that don't ski. Well, when I was in 8th grade, I really wanted to go to this ski academy in Maine. It was March of 2018 when I decided to make a PowerPoint presentation on my dad's laptop about why I needed to go to CVA. It was fully decked out and everything. It had these fancy transitions, and I tried to even include a budget that was wildly off. I had this goal to become a phenomenal skier, and so I decided to pursue that goal. Once I arrived at CVA for the first time as a freshman, I put the first check on my long goal list. This list got revamped at the beginning of every season. Goal setting is a priority at CVA, and for me has always been a challenge, but it got much easier as I've met more friends and built strong relationships with my coaches. Our goals are what brought us here, and if none of us shared the common goal of becoming awesome skiers and snowboarders, we would have never met. I love this class with my whole heart. And you all have made me laugh so hard. You guys are the reason I have a snort when I laugh. I'm going to miss our wild canoe adventures. How Ellie, Grace, and I stayed afloat the entire time will always amaze me. I will miss our senior dinners and the fan favorite of buffalo chicken dip. And I will miss all of us piling into physics to write 3 pages of notes and all complaining about our hand cramps afterwards. You did hear that right. I did say I'm going to miss physics. You have all made this journey amazing, and only the people behind me and in the audience can understand this unique experience that is Carabasset Valley Academy. It is because of my parents' unmatched support and love, my teacher and coach's exceptional patience and excitement for what they do, and my classmates' passion for their sport, that this goal of graduating from Carabasset Valley Academy has become a dream come true. I want you to remember that our goals are always within reach. As we move into the next chapter, our goals might change. But if you put in the effort, anything is possible. There's this saying when you're out on the slopes, it's send it. And to the class of 2023, send it. Even if you're scared, send it. And you can all accomplish great things. Thanks.
Now please welcome the senior chosen by her fellow classmates, Ruby Poland.
Hi. So before I get into it, I want to thank my classmates for choosing me to speak to you all today. And I also want to thank you all for coming today to celebrate the class of 2023. Each of you have contributed greatly to the success of my fellow classmates and I. I think I can speak for everyone when I say we are incredibly grateful. Lastly, I want to thank my parents for supporting me through my time at CVA. There's no way I would be here without your everlasting support. I'm standing on this stage because our high school journey is coming to an end. The high school experience in general is an important one, but CVA specifically is notable. A school where the love of athletics and the pursuit of knowledge have intertwined is so rare, but what makes it special is the experiences I've had with my classmates along the way. Although we've done many fun activities as a class, we recently embarked on one of the greatest senior athletic activities yet, a canoe trip down the Carabasset River. I know some of you may think this sounds like a typical everyday activity, but I think it's important to include we went on this trip just a week after we had received around 7 inches of rain in the valley. Before we departed in the van, Jenny Conover, who was the leader of our trip, prefaced our adventure with, quote, "This may be sort of dangerous," and Kate's really nervous about it. But if everyone just stays behind me and Karen, it should be really fun. Long story short, no one stayed behind Jenny and Karen. As we wrestled to retrieve our flipped canoes in the whitewater, the sound of Ellie, Grace, and Nia giggling could be heard from a mile away. Ironically, we had all bet beforehand that those three would be the first to flip, and yet they happily drifted by all of us as we bobbed in the water. We ended the trip soaking wet, but having that unique experience together was so worth it. I decided to speak about this story specifically because I feel it represents CVA so well. Sugarloaf, the Valley, and CVA are just not normal places. I've spent so much time trying to figure out how to explain it, and the best I can do is to tell you there's no other place we would have experienced shivering at the top of Sugarloaf, the battle for a mailroom key, or listening to Dave's long rants regarding how many people can be on a bicycle. Even though CVA is atypical and maybe a little chaotic, it doesn't mean it has not been a pivotal experience in all of our lives. Personally, I believe the experiences I've had with my 15 classmates sitting behind me have had the biggest impacts on me. Here are a few things about each of you I appreciate. Ellie's fun, easygoing nature has taught me to relax and enjoy the little things. Africa's infectious laugh will fill a room with smiles in seconds. Sasha is one of the most hardworking and dedicated people I have ever met. Jackson's focus on everything he does is so impressive. Josie's love for making people smile shows so much about her character. Dory's energy has the power to get anyone out of a slump. Althea's drive to be the best she can be is empowering for everyone around her. Grace's small comments throughout the day will make anyone laugh. I will never forget hearing you and Ellie rap about how much you hate the path. Baran's playful energy and love for the Lakers. I've never seen someone so excited about basketball who attends a ski academy. Francois' loyalty to his friends is unmatched. Kieran will help anyone out without expecting recognition. Summer will always make you feel special, no matter the circumstance. Dahlia's perseverance is something I have not seen in many other people. Nice laugh and compassion is sure to make your day just a little bit better. And finally, Kai's love for the outdoors has shown us all the value of being outside. Never in a million years would I think I'd be standing on the stage and be prepared to leave CVA and the people that come with it. And to be quite honest, I'm still not ready. You have all become some of my best friends, and the idea of us all parting ways just doesn't feel right. However, as Josie and I packed up our room a week ago, she said something that made me feel a little more at peace with our time at CVA coming to an end. She told me, "It's normal to feel sad because we're ending a big part of our lives, but what's exciting is we're opening an even bigger door." So although I may not feel ready to leave, you have all made the high school experience at CVA unforgettable, and having these memories together has prepared us for the next chapter of our lives. So thank you. Thank you for the lessons, thank you for the memories, the laughs, the adventures, and the support. We will always remember this place. Thank you and congratulations to the class of 2023.
Ruby. It's like my daily occurrence, me being really nervous and then just saying, okay, go for it, good luck. Okay, now the final speaker for today is the valedictorian of the class, Valia Singh.
Today, I'm going to read a letter. My mom always told me I was bad at writing thank you letters, but I'm still going to give it a try. Dear CVA, thank you. Thank you for an incredible 4 years. The lasting memories and the community that you have fostered for us is truly phenomenal. The lessons that I learned during my time here have shaped me into the person that I am and want to be. The first time my parents came to visit me, I was nervous because I wanted them to love CVA as much as I did. It was a cold winter day in January, and like every good father does, my dad left his hotel for Sugarloaf early in the morning to go skiing by himself. After a few hours of hanging out alone in the dorms, I went up to the mountain to meet my dad. I texted him that I was at the bottom of Super Quad Chair, expecting him to rush down to meet me. He did, but he was not alone. As my dad skied down the mountain, I saw in tow my English teacher, Lucas, the dean of students, Dave, and the scariest teacher at CVA, Karen Egan. Within just mere hours of being in the valley, the faculty had already shown my dad the best spots to ski. At the time, I was frankly appalled that my dad had befriended all my teachers so fast. But looking back on this, it makes me realize how welcoming and joyous the CVA community is to everyone. I feel grateful to be part of this community, and I intend to pay this warmth forward as I begin my next chapter. I'm confident my fellow classmates are going to do the same. Now, as much as my dad and Dave probably wish my entire graduation speech was about them, don't worry, it won't be. The next thing I want to thank CVA for are my lifelong friends. I know it's cheesy, but it's true. The senior girls are already planning an annual ski trip. And it's not just the skiing that's brought the senior class together. It's because of the many late nights spent with Sasha, talking about everything from our favorite ice cream flavors to celebrating her making it to the World Cup. It's because of the spring evenings on the field with Naya, having picnic dinners and laughing about nothing all that important. It's because of the time Ruby and I almost gave Tristy a heart attack as we failed handstands at the AGC. It's because of Althea and I running from a one-legged man who chased us down creepy alleyways in Quebec City. It's because of Dory's amazing songs that bring our entire grade to tears. It's because of Africa's contagious laugh that you can hear echoing down the hallways every day. It's because of playing cards on our senior orientation trip, where Baran and Francois teamed up and won every single game, and Kai badly lost every single game. It's because of Ellie screaming karaoke in van rides on windy Colorado roads. It's because of Grace's constant ideas that are so outrageous that the whole class can't help but laugh. It's because of Josie playing boggle with me just because she knows how much I enjoy it. And it's because Kiernan and Jackson T-boning into a rock on our senior canoe trip down the Carabasset River, causing a chain of collisions and a whole lot of laughter. When I came here as a timid freshman, I never thought I would make so many memories with such a special group of people. While we can't live in the dorms forever, I know we'll hold these lasting friendships with us on our next adventures. Now here's the part in my letter where I will offer up advice to my already highly competent classmates. I've spent the bulk of my time here at CVA injured. I tore my ACL and meniscus. And then I tore my other ACL. And then I tore my MCL. And then I tore my other meniscus. I've had a few surgeries, and I put my parents through enough stress to last them a lifetime. One would think that after all this time, pushing through pain, disappointment, and physical therapy, I would be a guru full of life advice, and that I'm capable of handling whatever struggles may lie ahead. Maybe this is the case, but all I continually think about is how I wish to be less clumsy. Clearly, most of you have figured out this whole agility thing, but I'm still working on it. Even though I don't feel like I have any astounding lessons to instill in the class of 2023, I do know of a person that we should all be more like. She is the most important person in my life, and I don't think I would have recognized this if I didn't spend the last 4 years with her as a roommate. Summer is the most important person in my life. She is my role model and who I want to be like when I grow up. She has been and continues to be my #1 supporter through all of life's ups and downs. She is the most hardworking, patient, loving, and joyous person I've ever met. She is the one who will laugh even when I tell a bad joke, and the person who will be brutally honest with me even when I don't want to hear it, especially when I don't want to hear it. She is the voice of reason in my head, and I think if everyone was a little more like Summer, then the world would be a brighter place. CVA, you have instilled me with countless life lessons and enough memories to last in eternity. I can confidently say that CVA will forever be my home away from home. Thank you, and thank you to all my classmates for making me never want to leave. Even as we go off into the world in different directions to discover ourselves, we will leave a part of our hearts here. Congratulations to the class of 2023. We made it.
Thank you, Dahlia. Now please welcome Dory Michaud, who will perform her original song, "The People Made Me Go."
So I originally wrote this song at the beginning of the year when I was first thinking about graduation. And I think it not only reflects my time at CVA and my growth as a person, but my whole class's time at CVA. I'd like to thank my whole family, my friends, my teachers, everyone who supported me throughout these 5 years, and especially my coach, Nate McKenzie. We showed up here with so much fear, but you made it all go away. Angels in snow, we're not alone, so I thought I might stay. Nothing's better than the feeling all these places give me. I found things on the best when it's 7 degrees. The mountains are calling, but the people make me go. It's marvelous how everyone can be like flakes of snow. The memories are worth more than my skis. It's not just a race. It's time to go, but I hope you know we're gonna miss this place. best friends, but a thing they don't have back here is a place to hold our hearts. Oh, I guess we'll leave them here. We dreamed of the day we graduate, but now here we are. We've closed these doors so many times, so why is this so hard? The mountains are calling, but the people made me go. It's marvelous how everyone can be like flakes of snow. The memories are worth more than my skis. Oh, it's not just a race. It's time to go, but I hope you know we're gonna miss this place. I remember jumps in the river and the countless days of storms. We spent the nights in cabins and tents and hotels, and of course our dorms were always on the move. But we know one thing's true: we will always be home when we think of you. Oh, the mountains are calling, but the people make me go. It's marvelous how everyone can be like flakes of snow. The memories are worth more than my skis. It's not just a race. It's time to go, but I hope you know we're gonna miss this place. Oh, it's time to go, but I hope you know we're gonna miss this place.
Now is the moment we've all been waiting for. The CVA Board Chair, Lindy Bruin, will assist me in the presentation of diplomas.
Josie Clara Alexander. Ellie C. Andrews. Africa Arango Lasso. Kai Glidden. Sasha Ann Jansowitz. Jackson Thomas Knobloch. Kieran Connor Mann. Francois Meloni. Dorothy Elizabeth Michaud. Althea Elizabeth Noyes. Ruby Lee Poland. Dahlia Noor Safety. Summer Layla Safety. Grace Cynthia Shaw. Baran Tabladege. Naya May Wolf.
And now, presenting your graduates, the class of 2023.
Thank you for doing that. We had like 30 people watching remotely. It was so cool of you.
I'm so glad they enjoyed it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to post it. This will be online too, right?
Yeah. So we're gonna figure out how exactly we're gonna post it, but yeah, we'll have it available to everyone.
Thank you.
Yep.